Hello, hi, it's Stephanie from Our Natural Wisdom. So good to see you. I am really happy to be back here again this week. Had to take last week off, so it's great to be back here for my weekly Instagram lives, Thursdays at 10 a.m. I am an eco-intuitive coach and teacher. And what does that mean? Well, specifically, I help women who are anxious perfectionists or are struggling in other ways in their lives. I help you to reclaim your peace through deepening your connection with Mother Earth and all of the sacredness that is found within that relationship that you have with the Earth. Hello, good morning. Thanks for joining. So I wanted to start off just by saying that my eye normally doesn't look like this. Had a bit of an accident last night, and so I felt I almost canceled this live, but I realized that it was so perfect with the theme of today about embracing life within the mess. Because good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hi, Kay. So good to see you again. Life is 50-50, you guys. You know, we go through good times, we go through rough times, and so much of our experience of life, our ability to find fulfillment and peace in our life, is how we journey through those rough times, right? And so we might call those rough times the mess, we might call it something else, but as my eye demonstrates from my little incident last night, it's just part of life that we have these rough moments, and it's how we journey through them, how we choose to think about them, and our thoughts create our feelings. Our feelings lead to our actions. So when we are very mindful of how we are thinking about the mess, the quote-unquote mess within our lives, that is just at the heart of how fulfilled your life will be. And mess is normal. It's part of the human experience. We all experience those rough times. And I am really realizing, and I mean, the universe is so wise and kind of funny sometimes how, this incident with my eye came forth the day before having this talk, because we like to cover up messes. We like to clean them up really fast so nobody can see them, or hide from other people when we're experiencing messes. But sharing our mess, sharing the rough times, having an open, authentic conversation with people when you're experiencing a difficult time is so healing, and it is what brings us all together as human beings, what allows us to grow and learn through our experience of life. And I think the authenticity and being completely genuine is something that can be very scary for a lot of people, especially those of us who swing towards anxious perfectionism, right? That we want things to appear neat and tidy and nice and, all put together on the outside, like you see on Instagram feeds and Pinterest feeds and everywhere in social media. And we're under so much pressure to always have things look that way now. I think even more so than ever before in history. Comparison is always a big part of the mess, especially if you feel anxious about the mess that you're experiencing in your life, comparing your life to what other people's lives look like, whether in real life or on social media, which is such a rabbit hole to go down, right? Is getting into those comparison traps on social media there's no surer way to squelch out any joy that you may have in your life, to go into that comparison trap. Comparison is the thief of joy is one of my favorite quotes from Theodore Roosevelt, and it is so true, isn't it? Comparison is the thief of joy. So when we don't allow ourselves to experience the mess and understand that it's a part of life and really be mindful of how we are thinking about the mess when you're in the midst of it, when you don't do that, you are really preventing yourself. You're removing yourself from some of the greatest wisdom and the greatest healing that you can reclaim and reawaken within yourself. I especially feel like this has a lot to do with the desire to control outcomes, the desire to control our environment and our circumstances. And while we definitely have control over ourselves and our own thinking and therefore our feelings and our actions, we have such limited control over everything else in our lives. When we really come to terms with that, not from a place of despair or, throw your hands up in the air, well, I guess I can't do anything about that. When you come to it from a place of open, being very, eyes wide open and being very sober to the fact that you have very limited control in your life. You can only control yourself, essentially. We can't even control our children and our pets. We like to think that we can, but that is another really tough lesson to learn, right? And when we realize that we really don't have that much control, we can open our hearts up to everything that the universe is folding out for us, inviting us to gain and experience and learn through those rough times, the times when we lack control, when we feel like things are a mess, a hot mess in some cases. I've been there. I felt that way last night, in fact. I felt like everything was just a big, gigantic, hot mess. And then I started getting really clear-headed, clear thinking about understanding that the only thing that I could control in the moment was my thoughts about what had happened with my eye incident, which I will share, I think, in more detail later, but another time. I'm still kind of processing it, honestly. But I think that when we get really clear and sober to how we are thinking about the mess that's in our life, it's going to bring up discomfort for sure, because it's a whole new way of looking at mess. Instead of covering it up, tidying it up, putting it under the rug, you start to see how much life there is to experience in the mess. And I see this, especially I've been seeing it recently, and the original theme of my post feels so appropriate, of course, now, that spring in our gardens, we are conditioned to believe that we need to tidy everything up in the spring and have everything be neat and tidy. Every single day for the past month or more, there's been landscaping companies all throughout our suburban neighborhood blowing all the leaves off, cutting everything down, cleaning everything up, putting a bunch of mulch on, making things look like we are conditioned to believe that they are supposed to look. But we also know, for those of you who follow me, who are interested in native gardening, who are interested in practices that are earth-friendly, we know very, very well that we need to wait to clean up our gardens in the spring. Why? Because there's so much life that is still emerging from the leaf litter, from the stems that we may have left up for our plants, from the grasses and the sticks and everything that looks like mess to the eye of somebody who has been conditioned to believe everything needs to look neat and tidy. But really, it is, your garden in the spring is full of life, and it is life that is emerging slowly as the temperatures warm up. There are so many butterflies and moths and our native bees and other pollinators, ladybugs, so many beneficial insects that depend upon this time in our gardens, in the mess that we see in nature in the spring. They depend upon that in order to gradually emerge and to not only survive but to thrive in nature. This is something that we have become so disconnected from in our lives, that our, society wants everything to be neat and tidy, to look perfect. And life is not like that. You know that. Life is not neat and tidy. We will experience mess. There is beauty and life in the mess. And that is really what Mother Earth is inviting us all to embrace in the messy times. So, if you are practicing native gardening, I really encourage you to leave up those stems, leave up the grasses that are dead, leave the leaves, the leaf litter on your garden beds until it is past the average frost date in your location. We've had a lot of warm-ups here in northern Illinois. Definitely warm weather, 70s and 80s, but then it'll crash down again and we'll have a hard frost and it will be cold. Those creatures that are waiting to emerge, they're waiting for the signal that spring has truly sprung. That is when they are most comfortable coming out and thriving. So I just really want to encourage everybody to recognize that there is life in the mess. There is life. And the mess that's in your garden, the mess that's in nature, the mess I use in quotes. I don't mean that as a derogatory term, but it's just the easiest way to encapsulate it. The mess that can be in your life. There is life within the mess. And it is a time that you are being invited to step deeper into your soulful connection, a time to connect more deeply with your deep inner wisdom that is always there for you, your soul's language, your intuition. This will be amplified as you come to embrace life's messes and embrace everything that is emerging from within there. So right now, I just encourage you to take some nice, deep cleansing breaths. And think of something in your life that feels messy, that just is not going the way that you would like it to be. It may be causing you anxiety. It may be resurfacing some perfectionist tendencies. And just breathe into that space. Hold that messy reality within your heart and trust that there is healing there, that there is wisdom to be found there, that it is normal to experience that messiness. It is a part of life. We could even say that it is about half of life, half 50-50. Life can be 50-50. And the more that we learn to embrace that messiness, the more we will truly live, and the more we will truly feel the life force energy that is flowing through us from Mother Earth in all moments. So many blessings. So much wisdom, enhancing your ability to hear your soul's language and to hear how compassionate and loving your soul is, how compassionate and loving the divine is, however you define that. So breathing into that space, acknowledging that mess is normal and that there is such an abundance of life and wisdom and healing to be reawakened within the mess of life. I hope that this resonated for you. If it did, I encourage you to click the link in bio and take a moment to subscribe to my email newsletter. If you're not already a member, you'll receive a free gift, which you'll learn about when you click on the link. Or you could click on the link in the caption if you're viewing this on Facebook or YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again next Thursday for another episode of my weekly lives, Thursday at 10 a.m. Central. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.